Every night, without fail, he called. At first, the dispatchers listened. Then they laughed. The neighbors gossiped. Some even tried to get him evicted. They called him crazy. But when the calls suddenly stopped, everything they thought they knew crumbled. And what they found inside that house changed their town forever. This is the story of the man who wouldn't stop watching. Chestnut Drive was the kind of neighborhood where porch swings creaked in rhythm with a breeze and dogs barked only at squirrels, not at people. Families barbecued together, lawns were immaculately trimmed, and the worst crime on record was a stolen lawn gnome in 2016. Then Mr. Elijah Morris moved in. He bought the old Forster house, empty since the foreclosure, and fixed it up himself. Quietly, methodically. The paint changed. The roof got patched, but no one ever saw him smile. He didn't wave, didn't garden, didn't even come to the HOA potluck. And every night at exactly 9:47 p.m., he picked up the phone and called 911. I hear voices behind the old Miller house again. There's a white van, no plates. They've circled twice. Sounds like someone's crying. At first, the police came. Officers looked around, walked the perimeter. Nothing. Just Elijah, sitting on his porch wrapped in a thick, Army-issued wool blanket. 3 weeks in, the calls kept coming, but the cars stopped showing. Then the dispatcher began redirecting his calls. Labeled him non-emergency. He called anyway. Whisper spread. Paranoid. Probably PTSD. Or just lonely. But others weren't so kind. Cheryl Crenshaw, head of the HOA, filed an official complaint. Called him disruptive. This is a family neighborhood, she told a local reporter. It's not about race, but he's creating tension. It's unsettling. Of course, it was about race. He was an old black man in a majority white neighborhood, minding his business, but never invisible. One neighbor tried befriending him, dropped off muffins. Elijah thanked her, politely, but never let her pass the threshold. Said, "Not safe for company." She laughed. "What? Are you guarding secrets?" He didn't laugh back. Officer Tay Johnson was fresh on the force. For weeks in, new boots, clean blues, and a badge still sharp from the academy. He saw Elijah's name in the dispatch logs. Nearly 40 calls in 6 weeks, all flagged as unsubstantiated. When he asked why, the desk sergeant shrugged. Old guy's been crying wolf. He's ex-military, probably fried. But Tay had seen this before. Back home in South Atlanta, his grandfather had once reported strange cars parked outside his apartment. Everyone ignored him until they found out it was a front for a drug-running operation. So that night, he decided to check in. Quietly. No lights. No report. Chestnut Drive was dead silent. But something felt off. Elijah's porch light was off. The house was still. Too still. Tay knocked. No answer. He walked around the side. The door was ajar. He called it in, drew his weapon. Inside was dimly lit by a hallway lamp. The place was meticulous, everything in its place, except the living room. Furniture shoved, a shattered mug, and Elijah Morris, on the floor, barely breathing. He had suffered a stroke, and no one, not a neighbor, not a dispatcher, had noticed. As paramedics treated Elijah, Tay noticed something odd about the living room wall. Strings, maps, dates, Polaroids. At first glance, a conspiracy theorist's bulletin board. But the closer he looked, the clearer it became. It was surveillance. Every van Elijah had reported, documented. Every strange sound, recorded. License plates, schedules, facial sketches, audio files. And in the center, a name. Project Greenlight. Under it, FBI case file numbers. They didn't know what it meant. But Elijah wasn't crying wolf. He was documenting a trafficking ring. Alone, unarmed, watching. Tay brought it to his chief. Printed photos, recordings. The response? Could be fake. Could be old. Could be mental illness. They brushed him off until he ran one of the plates. Hit. Suspect tied to trafficking investigations in 3 counties. Warrant from Louisiana. Armed and dangerous. Tay contacted a friend at the State Bureau. Agent Melinda Griggs. She came down next day, reviewed the material, paused, then said, "We need a task force. Now, 3:17 a.m. A joint operation of local PD, state agents, and SWAT descended on the Miller house. Battered shutters, boarded windows, a crumbling chimney. But inside, for armed men, 3 stolen vehicles, 2 missing teenage girls, reported days apart from different cities, crates of opioids, bags of unmarked bills. One girl looked at the officer and said, "We waited for him, the man across the street. He said he was watching them. That help would come." They didn't know his name, but they believed in his voice. News trucks, interviews, social media outrage, veterans' warnings ignored. Town apologizes after raid. Elijah Morris, the man who called every night. Neighbors cried. Officers apologized. The dispatcher who used to hang up on him visited the hospital, brought flowers, and guilt. Elijah didn't say much, just watched. Quietly. He watched everything. After months in rehab, Elijah returned home. No fanfare, no parade, but people noticed. Kids waved. Teens left thank you cards. Tay visited every Sunday. "You saved them," he told him. Elijah shook his head. "I saw what others didn't. That's all." Across from the Miller house, the city built a park, and in it, a bench. Heavy, steel, engraved. Elijah Morris, U.S. Army retired. He saw what we refused to. He heard what we ignored, and he saved what we could not. Below it, 9:47 p.m., never again unanswered. They say silence is golden, but sometimes silence is betrayal. Elijah Morris called the police every night, not because he was paranoid, but because no one else would. So the next time someone raises their voice, before you roll your eyes, ask why they're screaming. Because the one you ignore today might be the one who saves you tomorrow.